We got to get better at this.
The day of technology.
All right. Well,
And I believe we are live on the Congress page.
all right. And we have a viewer.
Okay. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Welcome.
One day we will get perfect at these live streaming.
I didn't say that. Come here, pumpkin. All right. The junior campaign manager wants to make an appearance, but she will probably join us in a little bit. Okay, so welcome. Holy smokes, there's a lot to talk about today. Why don't we start with a coronavirus update? We haven't talked about that in any of the shows in detail. But as much as you would like the Trump administration to believe, or as much as the Trump administration would have you believe, the coronavirus has not gone away. Latest statistics that I see are 7.49 million cases so far in the United States, and we're at 212,000 deaths. So by the math, that's roughly 2.8% of the people who are getting it are dying from it. And so it's still a dangerous situation. Don't think that it's gone away. In Texas, we've had 790,000 cases, and I believe that's second in the country, only to California, and 16,200 deaths. So please, 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 if you're out, wear a mask, be vigilant, wash your hands. And here's the junior campaign manager. Come on in here.
Yep.
How's the pumpkin?
Wow.
Say, you're doing well? Good, good. Say hi.
Hi.
Say, vote for Liz.
Vote for Liz.
All right.
So I have to comment real quick on the washing hands. You know, they recommend that you wash your hands for 20 seconds. I recently upgraded to the new software of the Apple Watch, and it now can tell when you're washing your hands. It hears the water somehow. And it starts to do a countdown timer on your wrist, 20 seconds counting down.
You show your button.
And let me tell you, 20 seconds is a lot longer than you probably think, or a lot longer than you are washing your hands. So that just brought a lot of awareness to me on the amount of people that probably aren't washing their hands long enough. So try, if you don't have an Apple Watch, to count in your head for 20 seconds before. Just a little side note on that.
All right.
All right.
And along the lines, on while we're talking about COVID-19, I just saw that come across the wire. Hope Hicks, Donald Trump's personal aide, has tested positive for coronavirus. So nobody is immune. Nobody is immune from the virus. Okay, you can't touch the camera.
We all know it doesn't discriminate.
It does not. So, okay, thank you for the appearance, junior campaign manager. What do you want to say?
Thank you.
And what do you know about Kevin Brady?
Trying to take away public education money.
Yes, yes he is. We don't want that to happen, do we?
Mm-mm.
Because you go to public school, don't you? And you like public schools, don't you? Do you like your school? Yeah. Tell everybody what grade you're in.
Kindergarten.
All right. Very good. And tell everybody who your favorite president is.
Abraham Lincoln.
Oh, good choice. Why?
Because he glued the country back together. And my second favorite one is
You know.
What's your second favorite?
Is it William
Well,
Taft?
okay, if you can't tell, I was gonna say, if
William
you can't tell me your
Taft
second,
was my favorite because he works on the Supreme Court and was the only one to be president.
Yes, that is right. Okay, little girl.
awesome.
All right, tell everybody bye. You're going to go eat your dinner.
Bye.
All right, that's the junior campaign manager, so you know Liz is in good hands. And we are going to defeat Kevin Brady.
All right, so we have 3 viewers on my personal page, and we have 4 viewers on the congressional page, it looks like.
All right.
Hello, Scott Woody and Ross Barnes are both watching.
All right, so while we are talking about coronavirus, you know, one of the big issues that's arisen in conjunction with the virus is voting. People are scared. A lot of people are scared to go out in public and vote. And so you may recall back in July, one of the things that Governor Abbott did was he entered an order expanding early voting by 1 week. So early voting now starts October 13th. I know a lot of literature still says October 20th, but that's been expanded under Governor Abbott's order. He also expanded the number of locations where mail-in ballots could be dropped off because the virus, because of the dangers of the virus. Now, it's my understanding, Liz, that Governor Abbott has withdrawn part of that order. Is that right?
Yeah, I just read earlier that he's reducing the number of locations where the paper ballots can be dropped off. So that's a little bit disappointing. So if you are planning to drop off your paper ballots, you know, make sure you know which location you're going to, make sure you know that it's open and eligible for that drop off.
Yeah, and so he's limiting the number of locations where you can drop off your ballots. So, and I assume, I guess I think that if you're going to do mail-in voting, I would suspect that a good number of those people who are doing that aren't going to trust their vote with the U.S. Postal Service with everything that's going on now, and so they are going to want to hand drop off those ballots, and so. Did you say 1 per county, Liz? Is that what the order
Sorry? Location, I'm not sure if it's 1 per county.
I read that it's limited to 1 per county, and I'm going to assume that includes counties like Harris County, where there's so many people.
That's
in
ridiculous.
Montgomery County, it's a large county area-wise. I'm going to assume, at least I hope, that somebody challenges that. Although we're running out of time to challenge it. But yeah, I mean that is ridiculous, and no other reason for doing that other than vote suppression. The Republicans know the more votes there are, the less chance they have of winning. So they're doing everything they can to suppress the vote. Don't let it happen, please.
Oh yeah, so that was the change. Yeah, that's crazy. Crazy. I mean, here it's huge. Expect somebody, you know, on one side of the town to drive all the way to who knows, I don't know where the actual location is, but I seriously doubt it's going to be convenient for anybody except the people that live right next to it. Oh, we have a whimpering dog right now. Mackenzie?
Why don't you take over, Liz, and I'll take care of the dog.
Okay. So we're going to segue in for a little bit to talk about mental health. I actually had a meeting before this with the non-organization, which is the National Association of Miss, the Great Houston chapter is who we were. Jackson was on the meeting with me, as well as or remember the name that we've discussed. So mental health is important to me. I've addressed this a little bit on our website, and a few things that I kind of want to just mention that I have in mind when I get to Congress on how to help with some of these issues. So I have a 15-year-old, a almost 12-year-old, and a 5-year-old, and as our children start to grow up, they're entering high school, and I mean, it's a different world than what even I was in, when I was in high school. We didn't have social media. We didn't have, cyberbullying. It's just very, very different. And I think that's probably one of the contributing factors to the increase in suicide rates in the state of Texas, in Montgomery County and Harris County. I was looking at some statistics for Montgomery County. I don't want to misquote them, so I'm going to refer back to them. But there is an article between 2007 and 2017, so this is a 10-year span. In Montgomery County, suicide rate has gone up 83% over that decade. In Harris County, it has gone up 26.5%. This is a huge number for Harris County, as well as, and even more, Montgomery County. Montgomery County is ranked number 11. I'm sorry. Harris County is ranked number 11 for the leading cause of deaths, and Montgomery County number 8 for the leading cause of deaths in the county. These are huge numbers that are very alarming. And as somebody that has a teenager entering that very fragile stage of life, it's concerning to me. I know I also read that between January of this year and I believe it's June of this year, we had 31 attempted suicides in the Woodlands specifically. 31 suicides. Yes, and that was January. Oh, that was actually January through May 31st. So even 1 month less. I don't know what the new numbers are, but I imagine with COVID, it's probably increased. Everybody's cooped up right now. Everybody's stressed out. Everybody's tired of seeing the same people. And so it's got to be hard for our teens. They're having to socially distance. They're not engaging with their friends, their teachers. So, Nassim is back with us. Let me put you on here. So a few things that I believe need to happen is, we need more counselors in our schools. We need our children to have more access to counselors. Sometimes kids are afraid to talk to their parents and tell their parents they don't, feel okay. We need to emphasize and stress to our kids that it's okay to not be okay. It's very normal. And so fighting for more counselors and access for our kids in schools, having that funding so that schools can hire more teachers. And let's see, I'm looking at my notes here because I don't want to forget anything. And is, right now we have, if you become a teacher, you can look at getting student loan forgiveness. I really think there needs to be something like for our mental health care providers. Very difficult to get into a doctor. I know at one point I was trying to get into a psychologist, And, we went to one visit and it was going to take another month before we could get back in. And if you're going through a crisis, it's not okay to wait an entire month to get in to see the doctor. Typically, if you're seeing somebody for therapy, for example, you're usually going to want to see them once a week. Maybe once things, get better, then you switch to every other week or whatever it may be. So we need to start providing incentives, to our young students that are thinking about going into that field, so that we can have more access to providers, because there's definitely a huge lack of providers. Um, the other thing is, um, more issues with disability or mental illness are likely to be a victim of gun violence. But somebody that can go in class, shoot up a school, obviously has some issues going on, whether it's, they have parents, somebody's bullying them, whatever the case may be. And if we are able to treat those,
I think I lost you. Are you on?
Okay, am I back, Nick? Okay, you're back on. Nope, you just went away. It fixed and then you turned it off. Okay. Okay, I can hear you.
All
So I'm
right.
going to read Nick's comment. Nick, you let me know if I'm not frozen anymore. So Nick says, I don't agree on school counselors. They tend to just report back to the parents. That's how, oh, I lost, where did his comment go? I was reading it and it, basically he was saying that, they just report back to the parents. And so kids know that, and then they don't, want to talk to their counselor. So then it basically becomes inadequate and useless. That's definitely an issue. And maybe we need to look at the rules on that. And maybe I need to dig into that a little bit more. I mean, I know, with um, my daughter sees somebody regularly, and, you know, she told me when we first started, they're not allowed to like say anything, confidential. I mean, unless there's something major or serious, like they're, threatening to hurt themselves, then um, they don't say anything. So I don't know if the same rules don't apply to the school, or if they are the same. Okay, here's Nick again. But yeah, I definitely agree, Nick, that it doesn't do any good to have school counselors if the kids will not talk to them, if everything's going to be reported back to them. It should always be, confidential. Nassim, are you hearing me?
Yeah. That's an interesting aspect of it.
So, yeah, I mean, and this is, why we need to have conversations like this because, you know, um, it's important that I hear, other perspectives. So Thad Max says, is there any point in voting for president if Texas electoral votes are going to go to Trump? Well, my comment to that is there's no guarantee that Texas's votes are going to go to Trump. And if everybody, if people have that attitude and don't come out and vote, then they definitely are going to go to Trump. So it's very important that everybody votes. Your voice is your vote. Your vote is your voice. 100%.
Yeah, just look at the last Senate election. I mean, Beto got very, very close, and um, a lot, I don't know the exact number, but there have been a lot of people since 2018, new voters registering to vote for one. And um, my understanding is that there more Democrats are registering than Republicans, and people are fired up. And so, yes, it's definitely worth it to vote for president, vote for Senate, vote all the way down. And if you vote Democrat all the way down, we have a very good chance of turning this country around and turning it around quickly. Um, so, yes, definitely worth it to vote. And so it's probably a nice transition into something that I know everybody wants to talk about, the debate. Um, that was something else.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Who?
I mean, my personal thought is that it's very embarrassing for us as a country to see the world watching that kind of a debate from two people who want to be president of the United States. Um, it was, but I mean, not unexpected. Um, I was surprised, I guess, at the frequency and the number of times that Trump interrupted Biden. I mean, I know that I know that's his style, and so I was expecting that. He certainly did that with Hillary Clinton, um, but it was just a nonstop train of interruptions and insults and name calling. And so Liz, what did you think?
It, I think I want one of the shirts that the Texas Democratic Party has come out with. It says "Shut up, man," or something like that. I saw that and I thought I need that shirt. Yes, it was. I, yeah, I just couldn't believe it. I was screaming at the TV, and I couldn't believe, you know, how many times Chris Wallace had to tell Trump to stop interrupting and talk, that his campaign had agreed to these rules and he needed to abide by the rules that he agreed to. It was crazy. Um, and
Yeah.
there's been a lot of talk about whether or not we should have another debate or not. And I mean, I think we should. I mean, Trump looks like the bully that he is. I think Trump had it was his debate to win or lose, and he definitely didn't win anything. His base is going to support him no matter how much of a bully he is. Um, but, if there were any undecided voters, I'm sure that he did not sway them at all.
No, I think you're exactly right. In fact, the polling that I've seen after the debate suggests that Trump actually lost some further support. Now, as you pointed out, he's not going to lose much. I mean, his base is what it is. I think we have, for the most part, seen the floor. And Trump knows that. And that's why we're seeing the effort, frankly, to suppress the vote. He knows he's got his, right around 40%. And so now he's just trying to get the Democrats to have less than 40% rather than to bump his numbers up. That's his strategy. And so he's trying to hang on to his base, and that's all that was, that performance. I mean, just throwing red meat at the base, interrupting, insulting, criticizing. Um,
So Nick says, next debate, your 2 minutes are up, mic off. I agree. Ross
yeah,
Barnes says,
well, that's going to be very interesting because one of the things that I hadn't really thought about until partway through the debate, I got the sense that Trump and his personality, I mean, he's probably the most narcissistic person I have ever seen, and any of us have ever seen. And I'm wondering if there's just something in there psychologically that he cannot hear criticism about himself. I think it just sends him into
mm-hmm.
this internal rage. And so when he saw Biden start to attack him and criticize him, he just had to fire it off to shut it down internally. And I think that's part of what's going on. I saw I saw that, that proposal about cutting off the mics. That's going to be very, very interesting to see the kind of rage that's going to throw Trump into. And I hope. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, um, hold on just a second. I'm getting my thoughts together.
So I was.
Saying the big thing, or the big issue, the big topic, at the end of or after the debate was, you know, Trump's comments to the Proud Boys. And I'm thinking about this because Ross Barnes has commented, um, his base are the Proud Boys and other bigoted groups, and saying stand by to a group of white supremacists is not denouncing or um, devouing that group. That is supporting them. That's encouraging them. I mean, make no mistake, that bigoted group that he was speaking to, I've heard they were creating images immediately after the debate saying stand by, stand back and stand by. I think they have shirts made.
Well, there's no doubt that was a call to the Proud
But
Boys.
he was definitely not condemning that group, as my opponent, Mr. Brady, has stated that Trump has done. He was 100% supporting that group and getting them riled up.
Yeah. So after that, there was obviously a lot of talk about that, and there were a lot of Republicans who, even for them, they saw how bad that looked. I mean, it was just a flat out direct question. Will you disavow these white supremacist groups? And Trump could not bring himself to do it. And as
because
you
he is
pointed out,
one.
he
He's one of them.
well, yeah. And so he not only did he not condemn them, I mean, he called them to action. That's what that was. And so a lot of Republicans, um, to the extent that they could, I mean, they have a very dicey relationship with Trump because they're I think every single Republican, with the exception of Mitt Romney now, to his credit, they are scared of Trump. They're scared because of his popularity. They know that one tweet from Trump, can turn the public against them. But even on this, albeit delicately, like Mitch McConnell would say things like, well, Trump probably should have phrased it differently. Not outright, criticizing Trump for the way he acted.
Hmm.
And it was, it's interesting, and I would encourage anybody watching this to go see the clip of Ted Cruz being interviewed by Chris Cuomo on CNN. And Cruz is just arrogant enough to think that he could take on Chris Cuomo. Well, he can't. He went on there, he tried, and he got his ass kicked. Let's just say it like it was. So I encourage all of you to go watch that exchange between Ted Cruz and Chris Cuomo, because it's very interesting when you see what Cruz does, and a lot of Republicans do this, and I took note of it. When Cruz was talking to Chris Cuomo, he says, well, when he denounced white supremacy, he should have done it just a little more clear. Well, Trump never denounced white supremacy, and Cruz knows that. But what they do is they plant these little seeds to make it look like they are criticizing Trump, but they plant the seed and they're like, well, he denounced white supremacists. So you sort of internally remember that later. No, he didn't. And you look, and just not just on that point, but that's a trick that Republicans do. And so, but it is interesting, Liz. You pointed out the one Republican, and he's the only one that I've seen so far, who did not criticize Trump, who stood behind him 100% like he's done this entire time, is Kevin Brady, and even tweeted about it. Saying that Biden was wrong and the media was wrong, that Trump has condemned.
Yeah, and then that article that he tried to share on Twitter was something from back in February of 2020.
Yeah,
It wasn't even current.
Yes, and so.
So another thing I want to comment on, one of the things that Trump did at the debate was call to his Proud Boys or whoever his supporters are to be watching the polls. To me, I take that as, intimidation at the polls. And Nick kind of commented something like that on Facebook about feeling like he needs a bodyguard to go vote. So I want to encourage you, you can do more than just vote. We need good, decent poll watchers. Every single county is looking for people to come and be poll watchers. They will train you. It's not a difficult job to do. I would totally be a poll watcher if I wasn't on the ballot. But, we need people to be there to make people feel comfortable and to make sure that nobody's being bullied when they're going to vote. So it's super important. I believe if you're not sure what to do, just go look at your local county elections website, and I'm sure that they will have something on there on how you can sign up to become a poll watcher. And I know they're always looking for extra people because, things come up. And so we don't want to be at the last minute scrambling for poll watchers or poll workers, because there's two different things. So please look into your county and see if you can sign up for that. Because we don't want Trump to have his poll watchers there and we not have people there, on our side. So.
Absolutely, and you're absolutely right. I mean, it's nothing but voter intimidation. That's all they're trying to do. Um,
Don't let them win. Do not let them win.
yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing the polls this year. I'm assuming that they will be targeting people based on appearance, maybe signage on their car, maybe who they talk to on their way in. My understanding, you cannot wear political clothing into a poll, right? You can't wear any sort of advocacy, so they won't be able to tell by your clothing. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I mean they're pulling every trick in the book out to.
So Ross Barnes says he's going to do it. Thank you, Ross. That's great. So Nick is commenting over here on my Facebook page that the Walker County election workers are full and he hasn't seen anything on poll watchers. Yeah, I would look into that, Nick. Usually, I think it's through your party. So I know, like the Montgomery County Democratic Party, I believe they're the ones that do the poll watcher training for the Democratic group. The Republican group usually has their own poll watchers. And Ross made a comment here on YouTube. I saw an advertisement for his poll watchers. He's talking about Trump. Trump's campaign is literally referring to them as an army. That's scary. So, Nick, I would say you are the president of Walker County Democratic Club. You probably need to look into getting that set up for your poll locations in Walker County. I am sure that Amy Hamrick Lewis would be willing to help you with any training you're needing, or to kind of gear you in the right direction to make sure that you can get set up with that. But I would definitely reach out to Amy Hamrick Lewis. She's the chair of Montgomery County, and see what insight she has on that, because I think you're going to want to have your own poll watchers, because I am pretty sure that the Republicans will have theirs.
Oh yeah, like somebody commented in Army, and that's exactly what it is. That's how they view it. That's the impact that they're trying to make. Just pure intimidation, pure and simple.
So Thad has commented, Antifa and BLM extremists are the main groups that are rioting and destroying our cities. All of those groups, including Proud Boys, should be condemned in my mind. Yeah, I mean, I hate when I hear things or comments from the other side about how the Democrats are supporting the people burning the cities down and looting, and that's far from the truth. I mean, I know me personally, I believe that you should be able to peacefully protest. Do I support or think it's okay for anybody to be looting regardless of their reasons? Absolutely not. And I do agree that yes, those groups that are doing that, whether it's from the left side or the right side, it's not right, and they should be condemned. But I don't like, anybody associating, looters with Democrats. That's a very wrong interpretation or assumption. So please don't, think that the Democrats, just because they support the Black Lives Movement matter, they don't support looting, or, the raiding of our stores or anything like that. It hasn't been an issue here for us in Montgomery County. We've had, or Walker County for that matter, they've had several peaceful protests. I've actually gone to a Black Lives Matter sign protest in Montgomery County, and it was great. It was quiet. We had people waving at us, honking at us in support. But yeah, it's there. I cannot think of any Democrat in any seat running or already in office that would support those actions. I'm just checking comments on Facebook to see if I have any new ones. Hello, Christina.
So the House passed another coronavirus relief bill today. So it looks like it is a scaled down version of what they passed in May, the HEROES Act, which was $3.4 trillion. This one is
Oh, Ross is in Trinity County. Sorry. I'm reading a comment.
the $2.2 trillion package. And so that was passed today, Democrats only. Every single Republican voted against it, including Kevin Brady. And so, you know, the Democrats in the House, Democrats in Congress, they're doing what they can. They're passing bills and putting the ball in the court of the Republicans. So, you know, I think by last count, when the new Congress came in 2019, you know, Democrats, since they controlled the House, they started passing bills left and right to move the country forward. And the Senate, since they were controlled by the Republicans, they've just sat on them. So the House is doing what they can. So, yeah.
Yeah, Thad says we need to stop playing politics with COVID-19. I absolutely agree. I don't know why this pandemic has become so political. I mean, at the end of the day, we have people out of work, people that can't feed their families. I'm volunteering at the Montgomery County Food Bank every week because the food banks are in more need than they have ever been. And Republicans and Democrats are fighting about how to help the people. It's disgusting, honestly.
Yes, it is. So it's going to be interesting to see what Trump has to say about his aide, Hope Hicks.
Yeah.
Getting
Nick
very
says
close.
that the Senate has already said no because they have judges to fill. I'm assuming he is talking about the bill that was passed by the House today.
Yeah. Yeah. So they've already rejected it.
Yep. It's disappointing.
Disappointing, but not surprising.
No. Hi, Jeff. So my old boss is watching right now.
Oh. Hi, Jeff.
Miss y'all.
All right. So, Liz, what else to discuss? I know we're almost at the end of our hour, but any more questions on there?
So Ross had a good comment. He says, I hope that the BLM movement can get justice and equality and that it can be resolved peacefully. When I hear people talking about the riots, though, they forget that this nation was born in war. It's a good comment.
Yeah.
Had Washington lost history, would remember things differently. The fact is, some things are worth fighting and maybe even dying for. I hope it never comes to that, but condemning the oppressed only serves the oppressor. They moved so much quicker and with such urgency to fill RBG's seat, but have dragged their heels on dealing with the pandemic for months. Absolutely disgusting. Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Yeah, it is. I know we talked on Tuesday's show a little bit about the nomination and how absolutely hypocritical it is for them to have done what they did to President Obama and his nomination, Merrick Garland. But we knew this was going to happen. I don't know if they'll be able to fill the seat in time before the election, but certainly I think they could before a new president and new Congress takes over in January. So,
Well, they're definitely going to try.
yes, they are. So, any more questions, or should we go ahead and sign off?
I don't see any comments, but not too many questions. I'm glad to see everybody's commenting.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And please
Yes.
spread the word. talk to your friends, talk to your family. If they're not registered, Monday, October 5th is the deadline to register. And so please, let's make sure that you're registered. If not, register. And remember to vote. Early voting starts October 13th. And the benefit of that is, I know in Montgomery County, if you vote early, you do not have to vote at your designated polling location. You can vote anywhere in the county. But if you wait until election day, you have to go to your designated spot, which can be difficult with work schedules. And so, vote early. Make sure that you, please spread the word. This is a very, very important election.
The earlier the better, because you probably avoid longer lines. You have the flexibility of going where you want. So, oh
But the
yeah,
first,
and I believe,
first day could be busy.
yeah, and I believe Walker County, actually, I want to mention this, they can vote wherever they want as well on election day as well. I think this is the first year that they are doing that. So, if you are in Walker County, I will be out at the fair on the square this Saturday. I think it's 9 to 5. I'm going to be at the booth there, so if you want to come see me or say hello, I will have my mask on. We will socially distance as best we can. And you can also get registered there because the Walker County Democratic Club is just around the corner from where the tent is, and there will be VDRs there to get you registered. So please come see me on Saturday if you are in Huntsville. All right, so we are going to sign off. Thank you for joining us today. We will see y'all next week on Tuesday. Hopefully we won't have too much bomb dropping news to talk about next week.
I'm sure we will.
I don't know how much worse things can get, honestly. But we are 33 days away from the election. If you would like to help, please reach out to me. We are trying to make literature drops as much as we can to get the word out. And we definitely need you on our team. Okay, and my website is Liz4Texas8. You can see that on the screen right now. And you can also email me, and my email address and phone number are on the website. All right, thank you.